All right, so welcome everybody. This is Noah Averbach-Katz. Averbach-Katz, how do you pronounce that? I'm sorry.
It was great. I thought you nailed it on the first try.
Okay, good. I talked to you online, not in person, so you don't hear those things
Exactly.
so loud. Anyways,
Exactly.
so welcome to the stream. He is an actor. Been in a number of things, most notably Star Trek Discovery. And you're currently working on another thing right now for type 1 diabetes. It's a personal project.
This is true.
And also a Twitch streamer. So let's see. Let's start with some Star Trek stuff for the Trekkies.
Sure.
So you're a lifelong Trekkie, right?
This is true. This is also true.
So what's it like finally being able to be on Star Trek as a Trekkie, as opposed to just being an actor,
It was great, it's totally surreal. It was very scary because, what happens if I get on the show and I hate it and everyone's a jerk and the whole thing's ruined for me? You look behind the curtain and it's crappy. But I had such an amazing time, and it was really cool as an actor because everything was exciting. You know what I mean? There's so many little inside jokes or memes of stuff that happens in Star Trek that I got to do, just like getting beamed up, but also getting beamed up while running and then banging into a wall, just really stupid stuff that for me was just so much fun. And it was also great because I really had a sense of the tone. Sometimes you're not really sure what the person is going for. I've been on some indie movies or something where it takes a while for me to figure out what attitude are you trying to come across in the film. What can I do that makes sense in this movie, and what might I do but actually just won't make sense in the context of the rest of the movie. And in this, I know right away. I can do this. I can't do that. I can try this, and then also do that. And so that was just so much fun to get to play in that world.
Yeah, I read somewhere that you had actually first auditioned for another role, and you weren't told what it was, but you could tell by reading it that it was going to be a Vulcan. So you played it that way.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. So that was originally when they were casting Spock. I auditioned for that, but it was they give fake names to stuff, and that was called Tom the Andorian. And I was reading it, and I was just oh, this is not an Andorian. This is obviously a Vulcan. It's obviously Spock. You know what I mean? And it was just so much fun to get to do that and know exactly the sort of tone and energy to go for. And then carrying that over into the audition for Rin, too, it was the audition was an early script of us, trying to escape or whatever. And I just got the energy right away. And, I was very it felt very much like late season DS9 escaping from Cardassian controlled, and I just knew it, and I feel like another actor would be so intimidated by how do you say Cardassian? Do you know what I mean? It's like Shakespeare almost, but it was just so much fun, and I just felt like I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing.
Was Mary a Trekkie before getting into the role, or did you
No.
get her love of it after?
She was not a Trekkie. She had this insane turnaround where she auditioned, she didn't hear anything for weeks, and then they were you booked it. There was just one audition, and she was doing a play, a pretty intense play, and the play closed, and the next day she flew up to Toronto basically to start shooting. So she didn't have time to do prep. You know what I mean? She didn't have time. So I had her watch Trekkies, the documentary, which I grew up on, and I had her watch The Offspring with Lal. Because I felt that is the spectrum of what you need to know about Star Trek, and the 3 hours I have, this is what you need to know about it.
That's an interesting episode pick. So I've seen that question come up before, what episode would you pick from certain series to introduce people to Star Trek and stuff, And I don't feel like that one hasn't been suggested yet, but that's a really good, interesting one.
I think it's a winner. Yeah. I think it's a winner because you're not really caught up in the Star Trek-iness of it, if you're trying to introduce someone to the series, who are these characters or whatever, but that one you just really feel like you can just drop right in, because there's this new character who's so masterfully performed, who sort of dropped in, so you don't really need to have as much context. So I think that's a winner.
That's definitely, it's a wicked good episode. I like it a lot.
Definitely.
Which series was your favorite, actually?
Well, I grew up on Enterprise. You know, I was like 11, 12, 13, like in the early 2000s. So that was the first series that I was watching week to week on a regular basis. So I really have a love for it. I also think like it is the most like it is the best and the worst of Star Trek in a way that you can't ignore. You know, like with Next Gen, you can really cherry pick like these incredible episodes and totally ignore some of the worst episodes of television of all time, you know? And it's
Really
fine.
cheesy ones.
Exactly. But with Enterprise, in a great episode, there are moments that are going to be truly horrendous, and I just love that it's like this is it. You know what I mean? You can't pick and choose. You can't pick like the one episode of Enterprise that like sells you on it. It's like this is what Star Trek is. Don't look away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what's interesting is I was actually talking to somebody about Enterprise the other day because I guess John Billingsley, who played Dr. Phlox, was approached for Strange New Worlds. Possibly.
I know. I read that. I know John. And I want to ask him about that because I'm so curious.
Fox has so much love because when I posted that on my Facebook page, everybody was immediately like, "Archer's like."
No, I know.
It's Dr. Phlox that makes it.
It's true, and John's such an amazing guy. He's so sweet. He's so nice. But I think like I read that story too, and they were gonna make him audition, I think, and he was just like, fuck this. I don't want to do that. which I 100% respect. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't re-audition at that point.
And that makeup is like fucking brutal, so it's like you don't want to feel like you're like doing somebody a favor in a way. So but next time I see John, I will absolutely ask him about that because I was curious as well.
Yeah, because I was like, what are you talking about? Because he made it sound like nobody really cared about that character, and I'm like, that's one of the beloved characters, I feel like.
Definitely.
How long is the makeup, by the way, when you sit in the chair for Rin at least?
When I started, it was 5.5 hours because I had that beard and they glued each strand of hair on individually and then cut it. Yeah, it was insane. And also, the mask itself is just like blue, just kind of like a blue rubber, and so they have to paint it. And so it takes them a while to figure out, how you want to paint it, what it's supposed to look like, what's the smoothest, quickest way to do it. So it started out for the first episode, it was about 5.5 hours. And then by the second and third, they got rid of the beard, they got a little bit more streamlined, and we got it down to about 3.5, depending on the day.
That whole time. Just like
you just sit there. No, you can't. Oh my god. Bug in my background. Do you see it? That's fucking nasty. I have to go smash his shit. Hold on. Look at him. He knows I'm coming.
He's running.
Why, you bastard? Got it. I got it. Okay. We live on top of like a very cool basement, so we have house centipedes come up, and they're actually like good bugs. They eat other bugs, but they're fucking nasty, and I smush them. You just sit there. You can't watch anything. You can't listen to anything. You can't talk. People are putting their fingers in your ears and in your mouth and in your eyes and up your nose. You just have to sit there and take it. Yeah.
I did art modeling for some colleges for a time, and I had to kind of do the same thing where you have to kind of like hold a position, but that was a little painful too because I couldn't even move my arms or anything like that. I'm sure you could at least like shift a little bit.
Yes, you can take a moment over the 5 hours, but like
That's gotta be so rough.
Yeah, it's just really intense, and it's really not for everybody.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know some actors have said they wouldn't want to go back to Star Trek just because of the
Yeah. It sounds so dramatic when you hear, you're like, oh my god, but like truly, it's like torture, it's really, really bad. And then to be in it for 12, 15, 16 hours, it's like, it's not, it's really hard on your skin. It's not like kind.
Hot.
You're hot, and basically like that plastic is just glued to your face. There's not like some like special mixture that they have. Like it's just a glue, and so you lose a lot of your skin when they take it off because it's like a Band-Aid almost.
You have to like shave your eyebrows and stuff.
No, they put something over your eyebrows so they don't stick. But like, Doug shaves his head because it's just so much easier.
Yeah, I saw a post where he
Put
said
it
he
on.
was getting ready for the new season. He's like,
Yeah.
hair's gone.
There goes the hair. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if it makes your life easier.
Yeah, if I was sticking around longer, I probably would have done the same thing.
Probably gave you like extra respect for people like Jeffrey Combs that keep coming back for like
Oh yeah.
with all the stuff on his face.
But they don't have it like we do now. Like Jeff, it's all like their mouth is all exposed. It's such a different thing when you just have it to your forehead or even lower. Like when it's fully covering your face, it's just a whole nother level of torture.
Wow, crazy. But it's a commitment that you do for your work and.
Oh, I was more than happy to get it. Don't get me wrong. I was more than happy to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what else. You're also a Twitch streamer. What brought you into that?
God, my friend Brian, who is the Fickle Ficus on Twitch, give him a follow. He started streaming during like late 2020, and at first I was like I didn't really get it, and then I was like watching him and in the downtime just sort of like having him on in the background or like chatting while he's like playing the game, whatever, and I was like, oh, I get this. Actually, this makes a lot of sense to me. And so I was like, I feel like it might be fun to like play Star Trek video games. I grew up playing like Elite Forces, and I just sort of was like, let me just like go for this. And the worst thing that happens is I'll like have a gaming computer, which of course breaks all the time now, but whatever, we don't need to talk about that. And then I just did it, and then I just like really got into Star Trek Online and just like that community and that little world has just been so much fun, and I got to be in the game, which was really fun, and
Recently, yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, and like just having devs on the stream and just I don't know, it was just a fun little world to jump into, and all of the sort of other Star Trek streamers, I mean, are just like really sweet and kind and excited for you, and it's just been like a nice little fun thing to do, I don't know, it's just been a great little community to be a part of, and it's great to like check in with people every week and see how my kind of internet friends are doing. It just is very sweet, actually, and it's something that I really love.
I definitely think the fans appreciate it too, because the way they have to like connect with you and talk to you and stuff, in like a real way,
Yeah, it's definitely just me hanging out, there's sort of no pretense around it or anything.
Yeah. And Disco does D&D with some of your other Star Trek friends as well?
Yes, we have been playing D&D for a while now. We started in 2020 and have been playing on and off, and we decided to stream it, and that's been so much fun. We haven't been able to do it for a while because of my computer, but also because people were starting to like travel to get ready for season 5, but that seems to settle down, so I actually think we're going to kind of get back into our weekly schedule again, which will be amazing. And that will hopefully also give us a chance to get some more guests on, because that's super fun, and I know there's been Star Trek people who have like expressed some interest, so I think it would be super fun to just get some more people into that.
I'm sure Will Wheaton might be interested. I mean...
Yeah, we've talked to him a bunch about it. Yeah, we talked to him a bunch about it. He's just like so crazy busy, but he loves Blue and Ian, so I think at some point we'll definitely do it.
Enough pestering maybe, and he'll join you guys.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, that's really cool that you guys were actually doing the game before like the stream or anything. It's not just like a show for people, it's something you're just doing yourselves for fun.
Ultimately, like it really is it is a chance for us to hang out. You know what I mean? I think ultimately like that's what we really enjoy about doing it, and then it's also just a chance for us to hang out with like a little really supportive, really sweet, kind community as well. You know what I mean? It really is just like sharing something that we find fun and funny and goofy and silly, and getting to share that with people. That's really what we're doing there. You know what I mean? So it just feels very it just feels really good, you know?
Do you feel like your acting has helped you at all as a Twitch streamer?
Yeah, you know, you kind of have to like keep talking, you know? And you know, there's plenty of times in a play or something when like you just got to keep talking. You know what I mean? Like the play cannot stop. You're up there and so, or you are like, I don't know where I am right now, but if I just got to keep talking.
That's excellent. Let's see. What else do I have for questions on this stuff? So you also have. Let's talk about your type 1 Trekkie stuff. And your type 1 diabetes thing. When I was first interviewing you, you still had your Kickstarter going, or you were just.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah.
A lot has happened since then.
Yeah. So I wrote this movie. You know, I've been a type 1 diabetic for 25 years or whatever, and I wrote this movie and ran this Kickstarter, and the community was amazing, and we shot it. It is shot. We have our second what's it called? Second cut so far, so we're still working on that, and you know, slowly building up to adding music, composition, and sound editing, and blah blah blah, and color correction. But like we're chugging along, which is just wild. It's definitely been a journey and a process, and I really, really need to update the Kickstarter and actually start rewarding everybody who, you know, was so kind enough to give out some money or support or whatever. So, yes, at least like they know that. But I'm like, man, I do need to start doing that because, you know, that's like a part of it is we kind of made something together. You know, it's not just me sort of going off and doing something. So, so keep posted on that. It'll probably still be a while before anybody sees anything, just because it'll take a while for us to finish it still, and then we'll figure out like what the rollout will be. You know, a lot of people will get private links, so if you know somebody who donated to the Kickstarter, I'm sure they could share that with you. I don't mind. And then, you know, we'll put it out to festivals or something like that, and then sooner or later it'll wind up on the internet somewhere.
Excellent. And you have some of the cast members from Discovery on there too, right? I thought.
Well, it's me and Mary, and then Anthony Rapp directed it, so it is like.
What it was. I knew he was involved in some way.
Yeah, so it's very much a family affair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you considered looking into directing at all? Because it seems to be a direction a lot of Trek actors go in.
Oh, you know, I haven't. I don't know anything about cameras or how to make a movie. I'm useless, but you know, Anthony directed some stuff, and we'll probably do an episode in the future. And you know, another Trek actor to keep an eye on for directing is Emily Coots. She's really, really talented, and she's on her way.
It's really cool
Definitely.
how so many like Star Trek actors go into directing. I know we talked about this in the first truncated interview. I know obviously Jonathan Frakes does. That must have been crazy working with him too.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was so much fun, and yeah, it was just getting to do 2 episodes with him. It was amazing, and you know, part of the thing is like, especially those classic Trek actors, like doing 24 episodes a season, you just understand how the machine works and you know how it runs. And he was just like such a pro, both behind the camera, with the crew, with the actors, always moving on time, just super flexible. So, you know, just as a guy, he's amazing and so much fun and so nice. As like a director, he's incredible because he can do it all. And then as sort of a leader, he's incredible. You know, the energy never lagged. Nobody ever felt annoyed. It was just like everybody was excited to be there and get to sort of work in his draft, you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, it's got to be like just like amazing as a Trekkie to like, you know, see like Riker up there and to like work with him and stuff like that.
It really is. Yeah, it's totally bizarre and amazing.
I wonder why it is that so many Trek actors go into directing though. It seems like a lot. Or is that not
I don't know.
in the acting world and it just
I don't know. I think maybe, yeah, but that's possible, you know? It's possible that it's just more noticeable now because, like, you sort of know everybody's story in a different way,
Yeah.
you know? That's definitely possible. I also just think, like, especially, you know, doing 24 episodes a year for 8 years, you just sort of, like, want to give it a shot, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, so, I don't know.
They definitely have longer seasons than a lot of shows do. You know, they kind of keep to like that old format of like giving you a big full season of stuff and not just like a couple episodes and they're like, all right, sorry, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and we have some fan questions from
Sure.
the Star Trek shitposting group. Let's see. Any relation to Dr. Katz?
None. None whatsoever.
We know from Sexy Shran's experience losing an antenna. I like how they edge Sexy Shran.
Obviously, of
The
course.
Enterprise, that Andorian antenna regrow. Why didn't Rinse?
Yeah, you know, that's a good question and one that I've got a lot. I think, you know, there's a couple of answers. One is like the headcanon answer, which is like, you know, in Enterprise, he does the slice and he does it very precisely and they know, you know, it's part of the plan or whatever. I think in this, you know, you see Osira as kind of like a bad person, so she knows those are going to grow back, and so she cut them or cauterized them or poisoned them in some way so that they wouldn't grow back. That's headcanon. I think like the true answer is it would have been there wasn't enough time in his little 3 episode arc, and it would have been almost too heartbreaking if you spent time growing them back only for him to get shot in the face.
Yeah, right?
That's like
true.
that's not as satisfying, but it is not untrue.
That's true. Do you think they're gonna bring you back for maybe another character or something?
I don't think so. You know, the reality is that show shoots in Toronto, and because of, you know, there's way less episodes than classic Trek, but really the main thing is because of international union stuff, you can only have a certain number of American actors in that show, most of which are the series regulars. So you only get like 3 or 4 maybe extra American actors in the show for the whole season. So if for it to line up for me again would just be very, very difficult.
Right.
So I don't really think I'll be back, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I don't need to like kind of hang my hat on that in the way. But a lot of it just has to do with like union stuff, which,
Right.
you know, that's cool.
That's kind of interesting. I never would have considered it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're still plenty in the Trek world though, because your wife's in the main cast though, so you still get to hang out
Exactly.
with them and see them and stuff. I'm sure.
Exactly. They're all my buds. You know what I mean? It really has transitioned from like, I think being on the show was nice because I just feel like I have a bunch of friends now, and honestly, like that's sort of the best part of a lot of stuff. You know, it's just like having cool friends. So I'm happy with that.
Making good friends out of an experience is definitely like one of the better things to get out of it.
Exactly.
All right, Saren Jameson, who's one of the admins, so because he's a mod, I decided to put his question through anyways.
Sure.
I guess that's what he always asks famous people that he meets. Have you ever made a Vegemite sandwich with a fried egg in it?
I don't think I've ever even had Vegemite. I know in the song, you know, remember like I Love the 70s or I Love the 80s on VH1?
I think so.
I remember it, and everyone talked about, you know, that song Vegemite sandwich, or the line in the song, and then they talked about how disgusting Vegemite is, and so I'm afraid of it, and I've never had it, and I probably never will.
Too, so.
Yeah. So no, the answer is no, and probably never, unless.
Never.
But maybe I wouldn't say no if somebody brought me a Vegemite sandwich, as long as it wasn't like sitting in their backpack for more than 4 hours. I'd probably take a bite.
From a random stranger?
Probably.
Oh dear. Let's see. Which would you rather fight? A dozen duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
A dozen duck-sized horses?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely a dozen duck-sized horses. Yeah, I'd absolutely smash a
Yeah, I don't
bunch of
think their
duck-sized
I don't think their
horses.
chicks would be able to do that much to you if they're
No,
that tiny.
I'd be good. I'd be good. I would step on them and kill them.
Let's see. How would you defeat your evil twin or mirror Rin?
How would I defeat my evil twin or mirror Ren? I don't know. Honestly, they would absolutely kick my ass. That's the truth. That's the truth.
You're
I
the
would do,
nice version, so it wouldn't go well for you.
or maybe not. Maybe actually like my mirror self is like really the good one, and I would just destroy them. That might be true. I don't know. Maybe yeah. Maybe I'd just be really mean to them.
It's like that Simpsons episode where you find out like the evil Bart was the one that's
It's the one who's
locked up in
supposed
the
to.
attic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Let's see. Is it more fun to be on the set on a ship, or to see your performance after all the effects and everything
Oh,
added?
definitely on set. Yeah, definitely on set. Because afterwards, it's like it's very strange. You're very like removed from it, because it's like a year later, and you're like, what happened to this? This is reordered. They're doing it. You're very distant from what you're watching. So being on there is just being there is just so much fun.
Do you like watch yourself? I always feel weird watching myself on like old streams and stuff, but
I usually don't watch myself too much, but the good thing about this was because I was in prosthetics, it doesn't really seem like me. You know what I mean? So it's way easier to watch. I'm not as sort of like, you don't have that really kind of pit of your stomach feeling just from like seeing yourself be alive. Because it's like, well, it's not really me. It is me, but like it doesn't really look like me. So I think I can do this.
yeah, so it's a little like removed from you.
Exactly.
That's interesting. Let's see. Oh, spending hours sitting very still in a makeup chair, you have a chance to learn some very interesting things from your makeup artist team. How long did it take your team to blue you up? We already got that one.
Yeah.
What's the most interesting thing did you learn from them?
Well, I talked with my main makeup artist, Mike, a lot. He's done prosthetics forever. And he did Jim Carrey's Grinch. And there's all these stories about, Jim Carrey ripping the makeup off and hiring like police and or like CIA interrogators, like how to handle torture. And you hear those stories, and it's sort of like I was saying, you just feel like it's so dramatic, but like sitting in that chair, I can absolutely imagine after a crappy day of work being Jim Carrey, being like, take this shit off of me right now, and straight up ripping it off. You know what I mean? And so like hearing it from the guy who actually put that makeup on was like, this is no joke. You know what I mean? This is not like a lark. This is something that truly you really have to be fully down for, or it's going to give you a panic attack.
Yeah, and it's gonna drive you nuts.
Exactly.
I think probably the only other time he's had to probably have that kind of prosthetics would be like the mask or something.
The mask, or I don't know if he had prosthetics for Earth Girls or Easy, or if that was just like face paint.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. Alright, let's see. Is there any more questions from the group that we had here? What's your favorite Star Trek meme format?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I love the Bashir Garrick memes, especially the blank. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's my favorite, especially the blank.
Yeah.
You can really hear that one,
Yeah, that one you can definitely hear in their voices, no matter what people put in there.
Exactly.
I read somewhere that like they had what's his face that played Garrick had actually like played him out as like gay, like
Sure.
intentionally, like that's how he wanted the character to be, but they wouldn't go forward with that.
I know. Really sad.
It's too bad they weren't able to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Or they can have the girls kiss, because they'll complain less about that.
Exactly.
But at least they did have that, they had a little bit, because they had the whole thing with Jadzia and her
Right. Have there
was
been any
like,
gay aliens or just gay humans? Like men?
Right.
I don't know. Somebody knows the answer to that. Any male identified gay aliens? I'd be curious.
Well,
Other than Garrick, of course.
yes, right? Who doesn't identify in the show, but does in real, for his character. Andrew Robinson, that's his name.
There you go. Thank you. That was bothering
I
me.
felt bad because I couldn't remember his name. Well, excellent. I think I went mostly through most of our questions.
Love it.
Is there anything else you want to share with people?
I've got nothing at the moment, just sort of plugging away. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy we finally got to do this. Oh my God. My pleasure.
It was excellent. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a good one. Bye.
Bye.